Most of us are familiar with the Pete Chiodo story, but for those unfamiliar, I'll briefly give some quick background. Pete Chiodo was a Lucchese captain who was indicted in May 1990 alongside the Lucchese bosses, Vic Amuso and Anthony Casso, and this was for the Windows case. Prior to the indictment and arrest, gas pipe was tipped off, and he and Vic decided to become fugitives. Chiodo, however, was left to face the music. He would be indicted again the following month for corruption charges involving the painters union. So while out on bail on two separate cases and going on the advice of his lawyer, he decided to plead guilty in December of 1990. The fugitive Lucchese bosses took insult to his decision to plead guilty without first consulting them. Aware of their nefarious history, and as a precaution, Chiodo decided to leave New York until his sentencing date. On the morning of May 8, 1991, he drove to a Staten Island gas station to have his car checked before taking the road trip. A Lucchese hit team began firing shots at him, and despite being hit 12 times, he managed to return fire. Prior to the attempt on his life, the Lucchese bosses labeled him as an informant, but it was only after the attempted hit that Chiodo began cooperating with law enforcement. On March 10, 1992, the Lucchese struck again. This time in an unprecedented act, they shot Chiodo's sister, who was hit 2 times, but like her brother, she also survived. The next relative was not as fortunate, which was Chiodo's uncle, Frank Signorino, who was found in the trunk of a car in East New York, Brooklyn, on February 2, 1993. 12 days later, on February 12, 1993, the Lucchese family decided to terrorize Chiodo's 95-year-old grandmother, Annette Signorino, by setting her garage on fire. Pete Chiodo decided to take a plea and go do his time rather than face a trial. But the Luccheses, as per their usual, labeled him no good and tried to kill him. If you live by Cosa Nostra, you never involve a person's family. They're considered civilians, especially women. Nonetheless, they shot one woman, a mother of 2 children, in front of a house and torched the garage that belonged to a 95-year-old woman, which is disgraceful in itself. If someone could tell me where the honor and respect is, I'm listening.